Hi, Marian. How are you?
Oh, I'm actually doing really well. Heather, busy
Excellent.
and good.
That's excellent. Now, you're
Yeah.
a registered nurse, psychotherapist, and coach. Can you explain to me what that is?
Yes. I found that if I told people I was a therapist, they think I was a massage therapist or a physiotherapist. So, a word some people may be more familiar with is counseling. The reason that why I don't use counseling is it implies that I'm telling people what to do. Really, we work together. I do a lot of teaching. We I listen a lot. I help my clients to actually my biggest thing is emotional fitness, helping them to feel good more of the time,
Bingo.
regardless of their external circumstances,
That's why
right?
we're talking today.
Yeah.
But your focus is on couples, and what I really liked about that is that couples who are co-isolating right now are spending a heck of a lot of time together and having to adjust. And then if there are other circumstances like children, and maybe they haven't worked from home before, and so I think whether you're isolating by yourself or whether you are part of a relationship, there are going to be some pretty interesting challenges.
Absolutely. I mean, COVID shocked everyone. We never saw this coming. It's kind of like the truth is stranger than fiction. So many losses, loss of the workplace, colleagues, family members, and then being stuck together, lots of togetherness. And, we can get kind of annoyed with people in our space if one person maybe was used to being home and had their routine. So it's stressful. It's tough on everyone. And then, especially if the actual COVID itself is provoking anxiety, which it is for a lot of my clients. So
Yes,
yeah, it's a big deal.
a huge
When
amount. That's true, because it's not a situation where it's like, hey, honey, I'm going to start working from home. Okay, well, let's give it a try. There's no in, and, if, or but. This is the reality.
that's it. Yeah, it wasn't a choice. Yeah. Yeah, it's like being hostages together.
And I guess it'll either make things stronger or change the circumstances eventually. Uh,
Yes. Yeah,
what are you finding
absolutely.
are the biggest challenges in couples relationships right now?
Well, my heart is really with couples. In my experience, most of us never got real good training on what a healthy couple looked like. I'd say 99% of the world. And so when things are, regardless, how can I put it? Regardless of how good a relationship is, most people don't have the skills to really get into that a phase where they're really working together well, really enjoying their relationship. Um, and how would they know any better? So to me, when people say that, oh, people don't try hard enough, I don't agree. I think it's just through not having skills. All that to say, now here you are in a COVID, and you really need to bring your skills up. One of the mistakes, or should I say, just human behaviors that we have is we have a negativity bias. We tend to focus on the negative, and
Hence the
couples
news.
have that too, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
The news for as an example, right? It's always biased. It's always 90% negative and maybe 10%. Oh wait, we're going to tell you one fun thing that happened today.
Yeah,
Thanks.
10 seconds. Yeah, and the same is true for couples. So, there's the honeymoon phase, and then there's the phase where, oh, I'm starting to notice things about you that really bug me that I didn't know about before. And now here you cram people together, and those things can become even more obvious. Things that were bugging you before, but you could get a break from. Well, now you can't.
Sure enough, I've been
Yeah.
reading some Gay Hendricks and
Yes.
Kathleen Hendricks stuff, and that's what they
Hmm.
talk about, right? Is being is having the toolkit to be in a good relationship to begin with. If you don't have those tools because you grew up in there, whatever your family of origin was, then how the heck are you supposed to navigate it?
Yeah, absolutely. So besides couples, it's emotional fitness. That's my big focus. And the nice thing about having emotional fitness is that regardless of what other people are doing around you, you can have control over your own emotional fitness, over your own thoughts and feelings. And that's what's going to get you through the COVID, people.
Yeah, and you really can't, to speak
Yeah.
to your point about couples, you can't, if you're not taking care of your own emotional fitness, there's no way you can be a healthy partner. Is there? Maybe you're
No,
asleep.
yeah, that's right. No, no, really. And what ends up happening is if we're not looking after our emotions, then of course we're blaming our partner. And we all have that tendency. Well, if only he would, have his act together, I'd be fine. Or if only she had her act together, I would be fine.
Right.
Anyway, I do have some good news. For managing the COVID crisis, the big thing is to just decide, okay, I'm rather than reacting to everything my partner does. There was a meme on Facebook about, this woman sitting beside her husband watching television and her saying, I hate the way you breathe. Like, stop breathing. It can get to that point.
Right.
So, so I was talking about how as humans, we have a negativity bias. We're always going to focus on the negative. So the good news is we can decide to actually create our mood rather than being reactive to what's going on. And I find the easiest way to do that is when you wake up in the morning, just decide, okay, I am going to think about things I appreciate. Like, you're retraining your brain, you're creating new neural pathways. And it could be something as simple as, I love my pillow, I love my blankets, I love my toothbrush. I so appreciate the people who made my toothbrush, the people who delivered it to the store. You could go on and on. It's about retraining your brain to take your focus off of what you don't want and onto what you do.
An excellent point.
Yeah. And I actually do this. So I do that. And then after, once I'm up, I spend quite a bit of time working on an appreciation journal. So everything I appreciate from the day before. So that could be about my husband, about my kids, about me, about circumstances. Hey, we have a home. We live in Ottawa. We're in Canada. Anything like that. And the trick is when you write it down, you want to feel the feeling of it. Oh, it's spring. I'm hearing birds chirping, whatever. It may sound really corny and almost too simple, but that's what it takes. So that before you get started with your day. So if you have to get up a bit earlier, it's so worth it. We're so aware, like pre-COVID, about getting up and getting dressed and looking good on the outside, but we don't tend to the inside. And this is a way to do that. So get up early, do your appreciation journal, do some things about yourself that you appreciate so that when you go to take on your day, your mood's already up.
Yeah,
So if you
that's
get
a
some
great tip
negativity,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a little jar. Haven't looked at in a while, but whenever something really amazing would happen, I'd write it down, I'd put it in the jar. And then when I was having a day when things were not going so well, I'd grab whatever paper in the jar and go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. That could happen again." And you're right, feel the feelings and bring it back because it's so easy to sort of slip into that morass of what everyone's going through and just get blah blah blah, bogged down with it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any online resources or I suppose you have some on your website, which I'll list as well, but are there any books or blogs or anything that you would recommend for people?
The Couples Institute does have some, I'm not sure if it's a blog, but they do have resources on there. And that's the institute that I'm a part of. It's out of California. A book I highly recommend is called Wired for Love by Stan Tatkin. And he talks about how our brains are wired for war.
Mhm.
Um, it's this prehistoric brain that we've got with us and that reacts in a nanosecond. Someone looks at you the wrong way and you can suddenly just feel these intense emotions, whether it's fear, anger, or whatever it is. And so he teaches in his book about how to be aware of that and how to counteract that and work around it. and also not to blame each other for getting dysregulated and having those intense emotions. So it's not like a character flaw. It's something that to work through and develop skills to work around. And it's a wonderful book. It doesn't take very long, and it's possibly on audio as well.
Probably. What isn't?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any other tips besides remaining calm and carrying on, and gratitude and appreciating yourself? I really like that, because we don't do that often enough.
It's really huge. It's everything, because I would say most people in the world, we don't love ourselves enough. And I could go into a whole long explanation of why that is. The point is, we've got a little virus right in between our ears here, and where we tend to focus on anything negative ever said to us or any negative thought coming in. And so again, we want to counteract that and create a self-image that actually fits who we are, because we're all worthy and we don't have to earn that. We just simply are.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I just, I know for myself, I've been working on myself for a great number of years, and I know I'm going to be for a great number of years to come, because there's so much, right? We come into this world, who is it, Wayne Dyer? We come into this world and every part of us is perfect. Every part, even our excrement. And then little by little, it's drummed out of us. You did this wrong. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done that. And so we grow up, and then we get these self-scolding things in our heads. That's a lot to undo.
Yeah. Yeah. And the trick is to be, there is a philosopher named, I'm not quite sure how to say it, but I think it's Krishnamurti. He says, observation without condemnation. So, okay, notice stuff about yourself that you want to improve, but basically you want to accept yourself as you are right now. You don't have to change a thing. And the more that you are able to believe that, the better you're going to feel.
Seems so just simple. Let's try it.
Well, as you noted, it is a lifetime process. I know sometimes people will say, oh, I read that book and it didn't help me. Oh, I did that thing. Okay, but did you integrate it? For myself, it is a daily practice. You don't get a certificate on emotional fitness. It's something you want to work on every day, and you want to really be self-compassionate. And Kristen Neff talks a lot about that, about being self-compassionate. It's so powerful.
Those are excellent tips. Thank you, Marian.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I was going to also say, I've talked to some parents who feel, so during COVID, who feel like they're guilty if they take a time out and they think they need to be entertaining the kids. And I say, well, you really need to meet your needs. You need to model to your kids that they deserve to have their needs met too. So taking a time out allows you to decompress, to chill out, to rejuvenate, and it's important. It's not a luxury. And so scheduling that into your day. Mm-hmm. Another thing people... Mm-hmm.
And taking care of the caretaker is what you're saying.
Yes. And you know how moms can be, thinking that that's a luxury and there's no time for it. But that's the best thing you can do for your kids, is to model that you're not just mom, you're a person, and you deserve to get your needs met. And in fact, it's essential that you do.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with me today.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. I could talk about this all day long, and I appreciate the opportunity, Heather. So good to see you.
You too. We'll talk again.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.